When you click on SSTS, you will be provided with a screen that allows you to enter your username and password. Click on Login and just confirm the information as asked for. You're then given a screen that gives you a choice of ePayroll or SSTS. You click on SSTS and you'll see a number of tabs along the top of the screen. You choose Workload Tools and you'll find there's a drop-down list. The tools that you're authorised to use will be highlighted, the rest of the tools will be greyed out. Click on Emergency Department and Emergency Medicine, EDEM for short. And you'll find on your screen, you'll find a calendar. Above the calendar there you can access a manual that will give you information on the tool and guidance on how to use it. If you click on that and read that before use, just to refresh your memory around the tools. Underneath the calendar it may be blank if you've not entered any data before, but if there's data in the tool you will see a table headed Amend Records and the dates that the data has been entered. On any of these dates you can edit the data if you want to put more information in or delete some patients, or you can amend the date if it's been put in on the wrong date. So click on the date you want to put your data in. It can be today, it can be retrospectively. We move to the screen where we start to enter workload, and along the top you will see there are 4 tabs. The EDEM interventions, and that's about the care that you give to your patients. It's around your workload score. Additional activities, and we'll go through that when we get to there, but that's about work that's done over and above what's anticipated. An activity screen that shows you the workload that you've put in, and a summary display which gives you the final information on the workload you've put in and the staffing you would need to look after that. So to enter a patient, click on EDEM interventions, and down at the bottom you see 2 blue tabs. One says Exit and the other is Add Patient. So to put your patient workload in, you would click on your Add Patient. All patients must have a unique identifier, and this really is about checking that you've got all of your patients in, you've captured all your workload, there's no double counting, you've not missed anyone out. If you use the CHI, that's the most consistent identifier that we can use. Enter time in, that's the time the patient come into the department, and the time out when the patient leaves the department, discharged out of the department. All patients coming into the emergency department will need a level of care. To the right of the Please Select tab, there's a little blue icon, an information icon, and that behind that we actually have the workload tool. So if you're not familiar with the tool, please look at this, and that gives you help and guidance on how to choose which level of care this patient has had. You must select a level of care for all patients that come through, and the levels are 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1 being minimal care up to 4, which is the most critically ill patient. Select your level of care, and you have choices now. You can save and add another patient, or save the information you have, or cancel. But remember, if you cancel, you will lose all of this information that you've put onto the screen. So if you click Save to add this patient, save this information, you will see that you now have that patient information on the screen. There's a cross beside each patient entered, because in the emergency department area, a patient's condition may improve or deteriorate, and this tool has been designed to capture the variability in the workload in these departments. So should your patient deteriorate in the time that they're in, you can go along to add another level of care. If you click on that, it asks for the time that deterioration happened, and asks you to enter the new level of care. Remembering that it must be different from the one that was initially entered. Again, you have a choice: save and add another, or cancel. Good save. Okay. You put all your patients that come through your department will go through EDEM interventions. This can be done at the time, or it can be done retrospectively at the end of a shift, or the next day, but no later than that. If you move along to additional activities, again you'll see at the bottom of the screen it says exit. If you exit, it will take you back to the calendar. You want to add additional activity. These are things that don't happen too often, but when they do happen, they need extra staff to help with whatever it is that's going on at that point in time. And what we're looking for is the start and end time of that event. The description of what that is. Now, when this tool was developed, the national group agreed that there would only be 2 or 3 things that met this criteria. And you'll see the selection in the drop-down box. It's emergency escorting or an emergency response. There is scope to put other in if you're unsure, but that really is just for untoward incidents. So click on whichever, emergency response, and we're asking how many doctors and nurses did you need for that time period for that event. How many additional doctors and nurses you needed for that. Just enter your numbers. We ask for a level of care for that event, and again you have the choice: save and add another, or cancel. Remembering cancel will lose you all of your information. So save this information. The screen comes up with the information you have entered, the time and time out, the reason for it, the number of staff. It gives you the opportunity to edit this information if it's not quite right, or delete it. Once you're happy with the information on the screen, move along to the next tab, the activities screen. And what that gives you is a summary display of the information you've put in. It's divided into 4 hourly time blocks, so that, and by the level of care, and it allows you to look at the patients you have entered. Are they, at the time that they've come in, do they have the right levels of care? It's quite a quick assessment screen, so that you know that as you're moving along, the information that's going in is as accurate as possible. Move along to summary display, and this gives you the information that you've put in. If you look along the box that has level of care, level 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the total, that tells you the number of patients that have gone through the department, your totals. The box underneath has information about your current staffing, your budgeted staffing, your current staffing, any bank or locum usage that you've used during this period of time, and it recommends a number of staff for the activity that you have put in. You're also asked to provide your professional judgment, and the professional judgment tool is also on the SSTS platform, and you would use this alongside your workload tool. So you would have a whole time equivalent output from that information, which you would enter in here. You'll note along the bottom it has additional activity outcomes, so if you've entered anything in there, it will have calculated out the number of whole time equivalent staff that you needed for that event. And then the total recommended whole time equivalent brings all of that together to give you a total staffing for the workload that you have just delivered. You'll see a little box that has update. That would be used if you go back to refresh or change any of the information you have currently put in. You would then update it and it will refresh the end results. When you're finished, you have the facility to print, but you would click on exit and it brings you back to the calendar. Now if you're putting information in retrospectively and you have a few days data to put in, you can go back the calendar and put it in now. Okay. Again, if this had been the first input of data, only that day's data will come up. It goes back to 30 days. It will hold 30 days data on the front page for you to go back and amend at any time. Okay. It's a quick and easy to use tool. What's really important is that all of your patients are entered and all of them have a workload score. Thank you.